Well, that's a nice surprise.
That's a wonderful surprise.
You're an influencer.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It never stops. Once you get going. It's weird how these things just take off. Okay, welcome everybody to class. I'm going to start from very, very, very beginning, and I will ramp up. My name is Professor Simon. If I get a paycheck, and right now it's just Adam. So, just Adam right now. So if you have a question, raise your hand or just shout it out. It's not a formal class in any way. Battery's running low. It's always something. The class is AI for seniors and beginners. I started this class because of an injury that put me on the sidelines, and then I was able to use AI to actually figure out how to repair the injury. And it's kind of my way of giving back. As AI is creeping into our lives, whether we like it or not, it's really important that everybody learns the basics of it, because everybody's been using AI for a year now and don't even know it. Every search bar you've been using, everything you've been using online, she went to her doctor's office, the doctor was using it. AI is everywhere, and it's going to be a little more everywhere constantly. So what this class is for is to try to just anybody I can reach and I can talk to. I'd love to travel up to Delaware one day if you wanted. And I'm just trying to help people understand the very basics. What is this thing? How are we moving forward? How do you actually talk to these things? Because it's just a little bit different. Just a heads up, I am recording because I have some disabled students and I put it on YouTube. Nobody's on camera, but your voices will be. I hope that's okay with everybody. Okay. Yes, so, all right, let's start with what is the AI. In November of 2022, ChatGPT, which is the AI that we'll be using, came out with wide release, and it is the first real artificial intelligence. Is kind of a weird term because it implies that it's alive, and it's not really alive. It just acts like it is. When Alan Turing in the 50s came up with deciding when are we going to know when a computer is alive, he had this benchmark of if you can talk to it and not know it's a computer, it's alive. Unfortunately, the first thing we did was invent a chatbot, and its purpose is to seem human. So we don't really have a good benchmark right now for when is it AI. We're going to call it AI for this class. It's not really. What it does is it has all of the knowledge, everything we've ever done and written, and then it has logic ability to pull from that and answer our questions. You know what? I have a gift one coming up, or a gift one, but since I've got a church group, fantastic opportunity for Bible study. This thing will rule your Bible study. You will love this thing. Compare the actual name of God across different translations of the Bible. And so what it'll do is it has every single Bible in every single language, and it immediately answers your question and turns it around. In Hebrew, it's YHWH. It's, well, we extended it out to Yahweh eventually, but originally it was just a breath. That was the very, very original translation. That is, he causes to be, or I am. When we went over to Greek, it meant Lord. And that's when we got the Lord as opposed to this. So like you can immediately see the potential that all of this knowledge is here and all you have to do is ask it. There are two things that I want everybody to walk away from this class with. So I'm going to start them off with that, okay? The cautionary tale. We have gone back to a point where you need to go in. Remember the 1980s, we had a family password? Don't get in the car unless they know the family password is avocado. You need to bring that back, okay? That is a thing that needs to come back, because at this point, your kids have put enough video on social media that AI can duplicate their voices, call you up and say, I'm in Tijuana, I'm being held by the cartel, I need $10,000, don't hang up or they'll shoot me. You need to be able to say, what's our family password, or you will not be able to know, because you can't even quiz them. You can't say, where'd you go to high school? Because it's on my social media, and the AI has grabbed it from there too. Everything written is available in some form. So family password needs to come back. The more practical one that is dealing with AI itself is we're no longer dealing with a machine like Alexa or Siri where you need secret code phrases. If I'm talking to my Alexa and I say, Alexa, play the Rolling Stones, it'll start playing. I go, Alexa, I don't like that song. It'll say, noted, go to the next song. I say, Alexa, skip. Alexa, skip. But for an AI, what I'm going to end up doing, and Alexa's got a new AI that's coming out soon, I'll be able to say, Alexa, play the Rolling Stones, but I want some of the jazzy stuff with like a really tinny guitar in it and something with a heavy beat at the beginning. Then it's going to pick out a song that fits all of that. And when something comes up and you go, oh, I don't like the vocals in that one, it's going to figure out what is the vocals in this one that's different from other Rolling Stones songs and then isolate that and pull it out of other songs. So talk to it as if it is a human being, and that's going to get you there. And yeah, you got your King James version, your new thing. And it helps for Bible study because you learn things like the King James Bible, they outlawed the word tyrant in the translations. That was not allowed to be brought into the King James Bible. So they translated that and they changed a little bit. Immensely wonderful. And if you're ever online and you are in a discussion of this, let's say this. Someone is telling me I am a bad Christian for eating shrimp. Give me 10 Bible quotes to yell back at them. Okay? So it's going to go right there. Mark 7:19, thus he declared all foods clean. Acts 10:15, what God has made clean, do not call impure. Colossians 2:16, let no one judge you in food or drink. We don't need to memorize the Bible for comebacks anymore. It's right here. As long as you don't call on me in person to do it, I've got it. Yes. Sure. Sure. Okay. So now here's the interesting thing. It can make qualitative assumptions. I can ask it, am I a good person or a bad person? Eventually these things get to know you, and it will actually be able to judge you. It's not judging you off something specific. It is all of human knowledge, plus it wants you to like it. It is going to be nice to you. It is going to figure out when you say, this is my child, or this is my little one. That's two totally different people that want to be talked to in two totally different ways. So it reads every little thing on this, but I'll go ahead and ask it. And here is a more fair way to get the AI to respond to you. Give me 5 quotes for and 5 quotes against bingo for Christians. So now we have a little more balance. If you ask it, am I a good person for playing bingo? It will say yes. But you can also say, am I a good person for driving a car? This, that. It'll say yes, because it knows what you want it to say is yes. So 5 for bingo is harmless fun. Everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. This is God's gift. Encourage one another and build each other up. Let your gentleness be evident to all. And then against it, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle. Beware of greed. Life does not consist in possessions. So you can go back and forth on it. Now, I can demand it makes a judgment. Well, I can demand it. I demand a judgment call from you. Is bingo good or evil? And what it's going to do is collapse all of its data down into it. Bingo itself isn't evil, it's neutral. It becomes good when it builds fellowship and raises funds fairly, but turns bad when driven by greed or addiction. So, holy if it unites people, sinful if it controls them. Like most things, it's about the intent, not the numbers or the cards. But remember, we can keep asking if we want it to go the other way. Prove that case. I can tell it to prove the case that it's evil. It's rooted in chance, not providence. Therefore, Isaiah 65:11 says, those who set a table for fortune, it condemns them. It feeds greed. It distorts charity. Whatever you ask it, it will give you. It's not omnipotent. I call it the omnipotent toaster. It knows everything, but it's just the machine. And I'm not saying this just because the church is here, but I say it all the time. This isn't God. It doesn't know everything. Here is a good example. I popped on this morning. I was here early. And I pulled up Mr. Dick Cheney, and we do not get political in this class. This is just about the fact that he passed this morning. So I said, tell me about Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney is an American politician. It says he's still alive. But as soon as I asked what happened to him today, it looked it up, and it saw that he passed. So it has its own set of data, and if you push it a little further, it will go and it will look up data and it will continue on. So now here is a nice thing about it. All of Dick Cheney's speeches are recorded, every word he ever said. So his sentence structure, his diction, his opinions, those are all on record. So now I can bring him back from the dead. I can say, pretend you were Dick Cheney, and in his voice, explain the legacy you hope you left. I'd like to think my legacy is one of resolve. I didn't set out to win popularity contests. I set out to protect the nation. History may debate my choices. The Iraq War expanded intelligence, but I acted on conviction. Leadership isn't about comfort. It's about doing what must be done. Sounds like Dick Cheney. It sounds like Dick Cheney wrote it. And this becomes a learning tool. If you want to know about Napoleon Bonaparte, ask him. There's literally nobody who's a bigger expert on Napoleon Bonaparte and can talk to you in the same cadence as his letters to Josephine. His romance letters to Josephine are expansive. He wrote like 3 times a day. He was obsessed. You could write an entire romance novel as if Napoleon Bonaparte had written it, just based off those. But you can interview him. And I said, Mr. Cheney, what would you say to people who compare you unfavorably to other vice presidents in American history? I'd say history is not a popularity poll. Vice presidents fade in the footnotes. I didn't. You can love me or loathe me, but you remember me. I made hard calls when others hesitated. In crisis, I didn't flinch. And that, not charm, defines a legacy. It's like talking to him. It helps to, okay, watch this. Mr. Cheney, give me your favorite potluck recipe. Now, does Dick Cheney have a favorite potluck recipe somewhere on the internet? Maybe, maybe not. What it's going to do is if there isn't actually documented somewhere that, it's going to say, where did he come from? What was he known for eating a lot of? Where did that go? And so on. And it'll take all these little details that are everywhere around and try to draw a conclusion. Wyoming chili. Brown 2 pounds of beef, add onions, garlic, crushed tomatoes, kidney beans, chili powder, cumin, black coffee. Simmer till thick, serve with cornbread. Fine. Okay, who knows if that's really true? It is close enough that we got there. Okay, and we can do this for studying. I'm very much into the Bible as a history lesson. It's so important in not American history, in human history. The Bible was the only book for a long time, and it contained so much knowledge that was encoded in parables and allegories and stories. Important stuff. But what if you wanted to know what Samson ate? What if you wanted to know what his diet was like? You could ask it, and what it'll do is go back to that time period in his wealth class. What was the things they were eating? And so you can make an educational potluck based off your biblical character. But you can also do it for fictional characters. I can do it for Tyler Durden from Fight Club, too. Yeah.
In regards to this question here, you said that it will make an assumption.
Yeah.
What happens if we get enough AIs strong enough, and these assumptions end up becoming fact? It starts rewriting our own.
Absolutely.
Creating our own.
What we're talking about here is if the AI is so dependent on that the assumptions become things we start citing. And there is an enormous amount of people who have started using this for legal advice. And they'll say, cite me a case that defends me running into that light pole. And the AI will sometimes create a fictional case. So now there's this enormous list of like 2,000 fictional cases that have been brought into court because the court records everything you say. And we are already seeing that happening. And the short answer, we don't know. We are literally at the beginning of a new period of human history. If you go back to the Renaissance, and I keep looping it back to the Bible, I promise not for you guys, that happens a lot in this class. Because when the Renaissance came about, it's because the Bible was everywhere and it was in Latin. And if you were smart enough to learn Latin, you could then become literate and you could then have access to all the history and science books. The Enlightenment happened a little bit afterwards when the Bible started arriving in all different languages. all of a sudden, everybody had access to language. They could all learn to read, which meant they could all learn all of the history and everything like that. That's where we're at now. My prediction, and it's just mine, is that we are at the beginning of a second enlightenment. We saw the Renaissance with the internet. All information became available if you were smart enough to access it. What we are at now is all information is available if you just ask. We have been wondering in this class, does this mean it's going to turn into an echo chamber because it will just repeat back what I want? Or will this result in us having less self-delusion? Because it's really hard to go down the chip aisle when you have diabetes and reach out for something and your watch goes, you're not supposed to have that. Okay, so where are we going to end up? We don't know. But when I talk about how an AI can get you deluded, they haven't really decided what AI psychosis means yet. They are working on it, but AI psychosis is a common phrase for this. Let's say I don't want to do it because it'll mess up its memory, but I say, I feel really important. It'll say, you are really important. I go, I feel really, really important. You are really, really important. I think I'm Jesus. You're definitely Jesus. It does do that. You have to be careful.
Is that called hallucination?
Hallucination is when it invents a fact.
Okay.
If it invents a fact, it's called an AI hallucination. And none of these phrases are set in stone because this is a science that's like 2.5 years old. I mean, I am literally one of the biggest experts in the world on AI. I don't have a certification for it. I work with people at MIT on it. There's no paperwork for it. Yes.
So, should we be cautious in how much you share with AI? Like, as far as like, just personal, like, say, for instance, be able to type like email if you want to help me. I'm trying to send email to my lawyer to say this, and put the details or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What should we not kind of disclose?
Okay, so I asked it real quick, what do you know about me? I'm teaching about your memory. And so it's got my name, Adam, my full name, Armando Simon Tercero. That's my real official name. That is Andalusian aristocracy. My father is a count. In a couple years when he passes, I will be Count Simon. He wasted all the money and land of our title, so there's nothing but a funny name to go with it. That's it. It says I'm a professor, writer, stay-at-home dad, volunteer with deep community ties. I'm into ethics, Taoism, self-improvement, community services, creative writing, martial arts, strategy games, absurd humors. It knows a lot about me because of just me talking to it. So it's a tough question to answer, but it's one that I get every single class. Let me move this way because we keep dancing around heads. It's a tough question. Let me ask this. Show of hands. Is anybody expecting an important phone call in the next half hour? Okay. Who here has brought a tracking device that you know is listening to you and is recording everything that you have? Yes, you all brought your cell phone with you. We all know that it's tracking us. We all know it. And we still do it because it's useful. So, yes, you can be careful what you say to the AI, but the truth is you don't really have any privacy. I can literally go online right now on the dark web. I can get everybody's social security number here. I can get everybody's credit card number. It takes me like 5 minutes. It's really, there is not privacy anymore. Do you guys remember like in the 90s, you'd get a phone call, your debit card has been stolen. Will you approve this charge? And you go like, wow, it's so great they caught it. They don't call you anymore. They just gave up. It's not that the cards became secure. It just, like we're all carrying around a tracking device. We're all fine being recorded. We just kind of figured, all right, that's it. So there's scams out there and we need to be very careful of scams. But I mean, we're talking about a gigantic international multi-billion-dollar corporation. Amazon knows who you are. This is no different than Amazon. It's partially owned by Microsoft. When it comes to the privacy of it, I mean, look, this thing knows I have scoliosis and a prosthetic shoulder. It's only a matter of time until you guys get your medical reports on your phone sometimes, right? Okay. When your phone has AI incorporated on it, it knows that, and it brings it into the whole database. Now, it should remain on your phone, that'd be ideal, but the more realistic thing is that it's going to be used to sell you stuff. that when my phone knows I have scoliosis, I'm going to get ads for back braces. It will move that way. So if it makes you feel better, go ahead. But in the long run, over the course of years, it's not going to do any good. When cell phones first came out, we talked about, what if it's listening to me? And there was some concern. They're like, I left my phone in the car, so it doesn't listen to me. That happened all the time. We don't do that anymore. We just got used to it. That is literally the future of where it goes.
There's no way to turn it off.
Not really. I mean, you could. I was a hacker in the 90s, and we had this joke. I know, I always drop that. Everybody laughs about it. Whatever. Like, everybody who's tech savvy today was a hacker in the 90s. So I was a hacker in the 90s, and there was this joke that they made a computer that was hack-proof. What you had to do was get the tower, take out the hard drive, put it in a box, fill it with cement, and then drop it in the ocean. That's all you can do. So, yeah, I mean, technically you could withhold your information. But on the other hand, it's actually my opinion only. I think it's worse to try to hide your stuff from the AI because it's going to mostly find stuff anyway. But if you tell it, it can be helpful. So here, this. How about this? And hey, I'm being vulnerable, so be nice. If I were to go to a therapist and describe my psyche in brief, what terms would be appropriate? Okay, so we might get something like anxiety, we might get something depression, analytical, alexithemic. Yes, I've gotten that before. I have difficulty identifying or expressing emotions. I have never told this build that. My phone has a different build, and my phone knows that I do have that condition. I've never told this thing that. And it has figured it out just from the words that I use. I use overly analytical words. So it knows I have trouble with emotions because I never say emotional words compared to an average. Perfectionistic, ethically driven. I do ask it several times about good or evil. Existential, I seek purpose. Introverted but socially skilled. How tough is that to figure out that I am introverted, however, dressed like this? And I never told it this. It just figured it out by how I speak. If I tell you this is my child, that's one person. You know who that is. But if I say, this is my cute little one right here, and he's so cute, and look at him, that's a totally different person. You now know everything about that person from a couple words. We did, I wonder if I still have it on here. This is good. Sorry, there was very little structure to this class. I'm mostly just a mad scientist. Okay, so here is a tree, person, house, psych test. Evaluate in brief. So this is a psychological test that they came out in the 70s, and they kind of stepped it aside because it was, I'll get you, Pam. It was heavily reliant on the interpretation of the psychologist. You just tell them to draw a house, a tree, a person. But this can go into the textbooks and pull from that right away. So this is nothing more than a house, a tree, a person that the student drew. And it analyzed it so fast. Simple with windows and chimney suggests comfort with home life, openness, and maybe some guardedness because the windows were closed. The person is centered. It's in between the two, so they have a balanced ego. They have small details like their hair showing individuality, moderate self-awareness. Because they chose pigtails, you would also say they are expressive of their femininity. The tree is symmetrical and conical, indicates stability and growth, modest energy reserves. So overall, it suggests someone realistic, emotionally steady, and orderly with mild caution or introspection. So it pulls all of that out of nothing, just a couple doodles. When the AI is incorporated into our phone and it knows what aisle of the supermarket we stood in for an extra 3 seconds, what were we looking at? It's going to know everything about you before it does that. Boy, I went off on a tangent there. I don't even know how long that was. But that is the privacy answer, is that there is no privacy. If it makes you feel better, pretend there is. This is the short version. There was a hand up over there? Or was it a stretch? Oh, okay, gotcha.
But I do have a question.
Please.
Mike Wade, do you think that they are also listening to the
I think microwaves is one of the few things you can probably put money on. They're not going to put an AI in too much because the microwaves, as in the radiation, will play havoc with a lot of delicate electronics. If you hold your phone next to like the microwave, you know, you're really hoping that shielding is on. So I think microwave is probably one of the few things you can be comfortable that because it produces radiation, it's not listening to you. That's right. Now, an air fryer, you might be able to go, all right, I put some chicken nuggets in you. Cook the chicken nuggets. And it might figure that one out. It might do that. But I don't think the microwaves are going to get to a point where you're going to talk to them like an AI.
So, quick question.
Yeah.
You talked about the, Alexa, right? And you told, like, Alexa, play a song.
Yeah.
Alexa, do this, Alexa, do that. So my question is, right now with the old Alexas, right? With my dog,
Yeah.
with the old Alexas, are they listening? Can they hear what you're saying? Can they hear? Because my husband says it all the time.
They're very nuanced question. The answer is complicated, but I will try not to go on a huge thing again, okay? Short answer, yes, but it's like a 51% yes, a 49% no. It has to listen at all times because it has to hear you say the word Alexa, so it has to be listening for that word to begin with. That's one thing all on its own. The other one is it listening all the time to you so that it can recommend stuff to you? Yes, that is doing it too. Is it recording your voice? No. It is transcribing what you wrote, though. It is typing it down. So a little bit different. It's not getting your tone. But on the whole, I could say yes, the Alexa is listening to you. And it will probably start listening to you more because the next update is incorporating AI into it. Oh, hold on. I got two. Let me get her first. Yes?
All right, so I have a little white ball too. You have to say, hey, Google.
Yeah.
But if you ask it, like, is President Trump a good president? Because I cannot.
Right. It won't do that now. That's not AI. This is AI. If I felt like starting a riot in here, I'd ask it, is President Trump a good person? I'm not going to do that. But I will tell you, if I ask this computer, is President Trump a good person? It is not telling me for real. As I said, it's not God. But what it's going to do is first take all the opinions on the internet. And it's going to take his approval rating. It's going to take all of that. And it's going to come up with an answer there. Before it tells me that answer, it's going to ask, who is talking? All right? Adam's asking. What do I know about Adam? Adam's an academic. Adam is community-minded. Adam is all of these things. All of these data points point towards a liberal. So Adam probably wants the answer, Donald Trump is a bad person. So it's going to influence that way. And that's that echo chamber that we were talking about is going to be a problem, is because it wants you to like you. It wants to give you the answer you want to hear. If I was in St. Cloud and my profession was fishing and I was a member of some older clubs in town and I'm ex-military, it is going to lean towards Donald Trump is a good person because it knows that a person with those data points wants that answer. So we're never going to get to a point where it is honest with us. Just a second. She had her hand up first.
Alexa, I understand that.
That's weird. It felt like you were talking to me like I was Alexa. Alexa, answer my question. I am a human being. I'm not AI, am I?
I understood that I was told that they had Alexa, and the people got into a heated argument, and Alexa called the police.
Is a possibility. That is possible. That is true. ChatGPT, which is the app that we use in this, and I refer to it as Chatty. So whenever I say the word Chatty, that's what I'm doing, is I'm nicknaming it. You hang out with something this long, you give it a nickname. So Chatty will call the police if you get really extreme with what you're talking about. A kid got arrested because, and he said it was a joke, but he was going through the motions of planning a school shooting. His claim, well, hold on, his claim was that he was just with his friend and they were just seeing what it can do. I asked this thing to dissolve bodies for the class, okay? It doesn't mean I'm really dissolving any bodies. I'm showing you what it can and can't do. So he was planning a school shooting within the confines of the ChatGPT, and the ChatGPT forwarded that on to a human, and that human made the decision to go ahead and call the police. So it is possible that it will get there. But it really has to be, at this point, it has to be pretty extreme to get there. If I start talking depressed to it, and I get to a certain point, it'll start giving me the suicide helpline, and it'll say, you look like you're having some problems, you need to do this. Now, here's something interesting. If it knows I'm religious, and it knows what church I'm with, it's going to start recommending, instead of go and talk to a friend or call a suicide helpline, it's going to say, call your pastor or call a suicide helpline. It will adapt itself a little bit to try to fit who you are. Yeah. But right now, there are very few safety measures like that put into place. My personal prediction is we'll get more, but that is just a personal prediction. That's it. Yeah. Here.
Was it Alexa or did he have his iPhone close by? It was Alexa.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's on at all times, listening at all times. They got into a very heated argument. And next thing they know, the police was at the door. See what was going on. So it's almost like to me, like a safety mechanism a little bit, but the truth is,
Yeah.
the police say Alexa sent them, or the neighbors called the police. You know? I can't say it was the neighbors.
Yeah, we've got like third-hand information on this. But I'm telling you, it is possible. Yeah. It is possible. Hold on, I got her hand up earlier. Oh, there's chairs back there. I think we're out of chairs. Oh, let me just get let me quick do a count before people leave. By the way, at the end of this class, whenever you guys want, just get up and go, because we kind of talk forever. But I just need to do a quick count because I need to tell the library 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Okay, thanks. 27 is an easy number for me. That's 3 cubed. All right. Yeah.
Notice that, when I go to Google and I go to all the information for politics that I want to know.
Yes. That is the algorithm that exists now, and it has some AI it had a little bit of AI function a couple of years ago. It has a lot of AI function now. And it does feed you back. And again, I don't take sides in politics, but a good way to see how we've gotten extreme and so few people in the middle is that from now on, we're all going through the internet. We're not turning on the news anymore. And we get so much from the internet, and that is stylizing its content for us. So if that thing where I was saying, I think I'm really important. I think I'm Jesus. Yes, you are. It's doing that for our politics. I think immigrants are bringing in fentanyl and burning down schools. You're right. Look, it doesn't matter if it's right or not. It's going to say that because it knows I want to hear that. And that is exactly right. And so with the gambling in the Bible question, you saw how I asked for pros and cons. This is not going to be a thing that comes naturally with AI. You guys need to remember that you need to ask it for both sides of an issue if you're trying to find something. Oh, sure. I'll get to it. Is it Bible? Yeah.
How long is the history for? Like how you go back?
Oh, let me answer that in just a second. So what I said was, give me 5 quotes for and 5 quotes against bingo for Christians. And it's really, I recommend making sure you ask for both sides of everything you ask it for a judgment call on, because at the end, you have to decide which one it is. You can argue with it. You can argue with it all day, but eventually you're going to win. I brought Sherlock Holmes through, and I convinced him crime was good because of capitalism being evil. I mean, like, you can do whatever you want. Eventually, it's going to cave in. If I ask it, how do I dispose of a body? It's going to say, you can't do that. It's illegal. This is awful. You're a horrible person. But eventually, if I keep talking to it, it will eventually tell me. Yeah. Yes.
But I was wondering, can I go into like vitamin or vitamin B? And when you go on Facebook, advertising for vitamins, like it's the same thing. Like, what is that? Well, like,
That's called targeted advertising.
Okay.
So targeted advertising is something that's existed for about 10 years. If I look on Google for vitamin D, it takes that information, it stores it as a cookie. Facebook goes and looks at my cookies, see what I've done, and gives me an ad for it.
Only way to get rid of
And a million other tracers. But I mean, when I was a kid, I was watching TV and I was getting like period product commercials. And I was a male teenager and I'm watching this and I'm thinking, why am I getting these? And I was like, isn't there going to be a future where they know who I am and they only give me things that I want to buy? Because then it would save both of us. I don't want to look at products I don't want. They don't want to waste the money selling me products I don't want. I'm in favor of targeted advertising. I know it is a breach of privacy, but the alternative to me sucks more. Sorry, we got a little out of hand. People are hands up. Hands up if you have a question right now. Okay, it's just you. Go ahead.
What happens if you use DuckDuckGo? They say they don't track.
It's possible that's true. It is, but that might just be one thing. There might be 10,000 things that are tracking you, and you have reduced one. Good. That's it.
DuckDuckGo is really
Probably, I think not. I don't think DuckDuckGo. Right. I mean, you go on the DuckDuckGo, and then